In the deep, silent dark of space near a dying star, an Imperial scout ship drifted quietly. The crew had been scanning for lost cargo vessels or pirate bases, but what they found was something else, something that made their blood run cold. Lieutenant Koro, the ship's sensor officer, frowned at her screen. "Captain," she said slowly, "there's something big out there, really big." Captain Run leaned over her shoulder. At first he thought it was an asteroid. But asteroids don't move like that, and they don't reflect light in perfect, clean lines. "Magnify," he ordered. The image grew clearer, pixel by pixel. A shape appeared, long, dark, smooth. It was not a rock. It was a ship, but not any ship the Galactic Empire had ever built. It had no markings, no signal, no registration code. It just floated there, silent and dead, as if waiting. "Could it be a derelict?" someone whispered. Captain Rune didn't answer. His instincts screamed that it was something else. The unknown vessel was massive, bigger than an Imperial dreadnought, yet its design was simple. No shining gold armor, no energy fins, no glowing reactor cores like the Empire's ships used. It was black, entirely black. Even the stars behind it seemed to vanish when it moved. Run's hand tightened on the railing. "Send a drone," he ordered. The drone left the scout ship and moved closer, sending back data. As it neared the strange object, static filled the comms. The drone's feed started glitching, and the readings made no sense. Energy output off the charts. Material composition unknown. Weapon signatures none detected, yet the background radiation was rising sharply. Then the drone's signal cut off. A deep hum vibrated through the scout ship's hull. Every screen flickered. Every light dimmed. The crew froze. "Captain." "The ship," Koro whispered. "It's powering up." Run turned to the forward screen. The dark vessel began to glow faintly from underneath, lines of light forming symbols no one could recognize. Then a voice came through the static. Not words, just a low, mechanical hum that almost sounded like breathing. And then the unknown ship moved, slowly, gracefully, like a giant awakening after a long sleep. "Back us off," Run shouted. "Full reverse thrusters!" The scout ship pulled away, engines burning at maximum, but the dark vessel didn't follow. It just turned its massive hull, aligning with the dying star. And then, without warning, a beam of light burst from its side, but it wasn't a weapon strike. The beam hit the star itself. Everyone stared in horror as the red giant dimmed, its surface trembling, collapsing inwards as if something was draining it. Within seconds, the star's light began to fade, shrinking into a faint ember. "What in the Emperor's name?" Rune whispered. The mysterious ship absorbed the dying star's energy. Then it stopped. No movement, no noise, as if nothing had happened. Then a signal flashed across every Imperial frequency. Just one word appeared on all their screens. "Human." Silence filled the bridge. No one moved. "Impossible," one officer muttered. "Humans can't build ships like this. Their tech is primitive. They're barely a spacefaring race." Koro stared at the word still glowing on the main display. "Then, what is that?" Run swallowed hard. "Something humanity doesn't want us to see." The Emperor's command ship received the report within hours. At first they laughed. The humans, building a Star Eater? Ridiculous. But when the Imperial Science Division analyzed the signal, they stopped laughing. The ship's power readings were not from any known reactor type. The hull wasn't made from any galactic alloy. It absorbed energy instead of reflecting it. Even the AI analyst couldn't decode its system architecture. It was alien to everything the Empire had ever encountered. And yet, the transmission clearly said human. The Emperor ordered silence. "No one speaks of this," he said, "until we understand what we are dealing with." But the galaxy has no secrets for long. Rumors began to spread through the outer colonies. Miners claimed to see giant black ships moving between dead systems. Traders swore they'd picked up human distress signals coming from uncharted space. Some even said a fleet was being built, silent, hidden, unstoppable. And somewhere far beyond Imperial borders, in the orbit of a shattered moon, another ship came alive. Its dark hull gleamed faintly in the light of a cold sun. A voice echoed through its control deck. Calm, confident, human. Test successful. Energy absorption complete. Begin Phase 2. The stars flickered. The Galactic Empire did not yet know it, but a new power was awakening in the darkness, one that did not follow their rules, their physics or their fear. For centuries, the Empire had ruled with its massive fleets and perfect machines. Every species feared them, every world obeyed them, but now, something else had appeared, something ancient, clever, and terrifyingly human. And when the Emperor heard the final report, his only words were a whisper of dread. If this is what they call a test, what happens when humans get serious? The news spread through the Galactic Empire like a virus. At first, no one believed it. A human ship, one single vessel, had drained the energy of a star. That kind of power belonged only to the Empire's most sacred technology, guarded by the Emperor himself. And yet, the data from the scout ship was real. The Council of High Command gathered in the Imperial capital, on the world of Vera Prime. The room was filled with tension, admirals, scientists, and nobles whispering in fear. Holoscreens showed the image of the strange black ship. It hung in the air like a shadow, as if even the light around it was afraid. Admiral Threx, a veteran of 100 battles, slammed his fist on the table. "This is impossible. Humans are a young race. They only reached the stars a few centuries ago. Their ships run on chemical fuel." The science minister shook her head. "Not anymore. The readings don't lie. That ship used an unknown energy source, something that breaks every law of our physics." Another council member spoke softly. "And you're certain it was human?" She nodded. "The transmission code was ancient Terran binary. Old Earth language, there is no doubt." The room fell silent. The only sound was the slow hum of the hologram. The Emperor sat at the head of the table, motionless. His golden armor reflected the dim light, his face hidden behind a mask shaped like a sun. At last, he spoke. "Tell me, Admiral Threx, what became of the scout ship?" Threx looked down. "Destroyed, Your Radiance. Their last transmission ended when the human ship moved. We believe the energy wave from the dying star vaporized them." The Emperor's fingers tightened. "So, humanity has weapons that drain stars, and they are willing to use them." The Minister of Intelligence cleared his throat. "We don't know their intentions, my Emperor. The humans have not made any contact or threat." The Emperor's voice was cold. "Then that is even worse. An enemy who does not speak is an enemy who is planning." In the following days, panic spread across the Empire's outer sectors. Every passing shadow became a possible human ship. Every strange signal became a warning. The Empire's news networks were censored, but rumors always escaped. A mining colony near the Delta Rim reported a black object passing through their system, larger than a city, moving faster than light itself. A week later, the colony's sun dimmed for exactly 10 seconds, 10 seconds of night in daylight. The people began to whisper a name, the Black Fleet. Inside the Imperial Academy, students studied every scrap of data about humanity. Their history, their wars, their psychology. Professor Ailan, one of the Empire's top xenologists, addressed his terrified class. "Humans are dangerous," he said, "not because of their power, but because of their nature. When they fear, they build. When they lose, they learn. When they are threatened," he paused, "they adapt." One of his students raised a trembling hand. "But sir, their world, Earth, it's small. Their population, tiny. How can they stand against the Empire?" Elon smiled sadly. "That's what every empire says before it falls." Back in the Imperial Palace, the Emperor called his closest advisors. "Mobilize our fleets," he commanded. "I want human space watched day and night. No ship enters or leaves without my permission." "But Your Radiance," said the fleet admiral, "if we move the fleets openly, they will see it as aggression." The Emperor's eyes glowed behind his mask. "They will see what I want them to see. Fear keeps order." Far away, in the cold emptiness between galaxies, a human command vessel drifted silently. Its crew observed the chaos from afar through deep space sensors. Captain Ilara Cade stood before her crew. "They're afraid," she said quietly. "The Empire is moving fleets. They think our prototype was a weapon demonstration. Her second-in-command grinned. Wasn't it? Ilara smiled faintly. No, it was a warning. On the main display, countless red dots appeared, Imperial fleets forming patrol lines near human borders. Ilara crossed her arms. Let them watch. They think they've seen our power. They haven't seen anything yet. Back in the capital, the Emperor stared at the hologram of the black ship again. He turned to his science minister. I want it copied. Every detail. Build one for me, her eyes widened. Your Radiance, that's impossible. We don't have the materials. The structure itself defies our science. It bends light, even absorbs energy. Then find a way, the Emperor hissed. If humans can build it, so can we. The minister swallowed hard. With respect, my Emperor, perhaps they did not build it. The Emperor frowned. Explain. What if they found it? She said softly. Something ancient, something older than the galaxy itself. The Emperor stared at her, silent. The idea chilled even him. That night, across the Imperial core worlds, the unthinkable happened. A fleet of 3 Imperial cruisers vanished near the human border. Only fragments of their distress call were recovered, static, screaming, and a single word. Human. The Empire went into full alert. Trade routes shut down. Border systems locked. The military began mass production of new warships. But in the shadows of deep space, humanity was calm. Watching. Preparing. On Earth's hidden lunar base, an engineer smiled at the latest report. They've seen the small one, he said. Good, another engineer looked up. Should we reveal the next phase? The first smiled. Not yet. Let them panic a little longer. And far away in his golden palace, the Emperor stared out into the stars. He could feel it. The balance of power shifting. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Empire was afraid. He whispered to himself, they don't know this was just the smallest ship. 3 weeks had passed since the black ship appeared. 3 weeks of fear, of rumors, of sleepless nights inside the halls of the Galactic Empire. But now, something even stranger had happened. A signal arrived, not a threat, not a demand, just a message. Simple, calm, and terrifying in its meaning. We wish to talk. Humanity. The Council of High Command gathered once again. The Emperor sat on his throne of light, surrounded by ministers and admirals who tried to hide their fear. Admiral Threx read the message aloud one last time. They sent coordinates for a meeting place, neutral ground, near the nebula of glass. A system we do not control. The Emperor's voice echoed through the chamber. Do they come in peace, or to intimidate us? The science minister answered softly. Only one way to find out. The Emperor's golden mask turned toward the stars. Then we will meet them. Prepare my fleet. Days later, in the cold blue glow of the nebula, the Imperial flagship waited. Hundreds of escort ships formed a wall of metal and light, their weapons charged, their shields ready. And still, there was no sign of the humans. Then, without warning, space itself seemed to bend. A shadow appeared, black, silent, massive. A ship emerged from nothingness, but it wasn't like the first one. This one was larger. So large that even the Imperial flagship looked like a child beside it. Every Imperial radar screamed. The human ship didn't send any threat signal. Just a calm ping, like a heartbeat. Open communications, Admiral Threx ordered. The hollow screen flickered, and then a human appeared. A woman, calm, sharp-eyed, wearing a grey uniform with no rank symbols. Behind her stood crew members in simple suits, their faces confident but not arrogant. I am Captain Ilara Cade of the United Terran Command, she said. We come to talk. Threx leaned forward. You drained a star. You destroyed our ships. Do you call that talking? Ilara didn't flinch. Your scouts attacked first. We defended ourselves. The star was a test. The counselors behind Threx whispered in shock. A test? Of what? Ilara's voice was quiet but strong. Of possibility. We wanted to see what we could build, when no one told us we couldn't. The Emperor himself stepped forward on his golden platform. "You claim to represent humanity," he said. "Yet your technology surpasses even ours. You are not part of the Galactic Treaty. You have no right to create weapons of this scale." Ilara tilted her head. "Right? Tell me, Your Majesty, did anyone give you the right to rule half the galaxy?" The chamber went silent. The Emperor's mask turned slightly, and his voice grew cold. "You dare to speak so boldly in front of your superiors?" Ilara smiled faintly. "Superior? No, just older." A low murmur filled the Imperial command deck. No one had ever spoken to the Emperor like that, not in living memory. The Emperor tried to regain control. "Why are you here, Captain Cade? What does humanity want?" Ilara's eyes narrowed. "We don't want war. We don't want your empire. We just want peace." Threx laughed bitterly. "Peace? You build weapons that drink stars, and you speak of peace." Ilara looked straight at him. "We build weapons, so we never have to use them." Outside, the Imperial fleet surrounded the human ship, scanning it, studying it, trying to find weakness. But every scan failed. The data came back blank. The ship's hull didn't just absorb light, it absorbed information. A nervous Imperial officer whispered, "It's like the ship doesn't exist." Back inside the meeting, tension thickened. The Emperor's voice turned dark. "If you wish for peace, Captain, then disarm your fleet. Submit to Imperial inspection." Ilara chuckled softly. "You misunderstand. We came to talk, not to kneel." The Emperor rose from his throne, his golden armor glowing brighter. "You defy the Galactic Empire." Ilara's expression didn't change. "We defy anyone who believes we can't decide our own path." Her words hung in the air like thunder. Before the Emperor could respond, an officer rushed forward. "Your Radiance, something's happening." Outside, the nebula's light began to shift. Thousands of faint signals appeared in the distance, dots of black metal moving through the void. "More ships," the officer whispered. "They're human." The Emperor stared at the growing swarm. "How many?" The officer swallowed. "Hundreds, maybe thousands." Ilara glanced at the Emperor through the hollow screen. "You see, we didn't come alone." The Imperial fleet went into full battle readiness. Weapons powered up, shields activated. But the human ships didn't move closer. They just waited, silent, calm, as if watching. Ilara's voice echoed once more. "You have ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years through fear. We will not be ruled by fear." Then she smiled slightly. "This is your warning, Emperor. Stay out of human space." And with that, the transmission ended. The human ships vanished, fading into darkness like ghosts. Silence filled the Imperial command bridge. For the first time, the Emperor felt something new. Uncertainty. He turned to Admiral Threx. "Was that their full fleet?" Threx hesitated. "No, Your Radiance. Our sensors detected only a fraction of their power. It's as if they were hiding the rest." The Emperor stared into the empty stars where the humans had disappeared. He whispered, almost to himself, "They left peacefully, but they left a beacon behind." For several days after the meeting, the galaxy went silent. No one spoke of what had happened near the nebula of glass. The Emperor had ordered every recording erased, every witness silenced. But silence has a strange power. It only makes fear grow louder. The Imperial fleets patrolled the borders, scanning for human ships. Nothing. No signal. No trace. It was as if humanity had vanished. Then something happened. In the cold night of space, a single pulse rippled through the void. Not an explosion. Not a weapon. Just a sound, a deep, steady thrum that passed through every sensor, every ship, every world. The pulse came from the same coordinates where the humans had met the Empire. When Imperial scientists traced it, they discovered a small object floating there, the size of a satellite. No weapons, no engines, no markings, just one glowing word on its surface: beacon. In the Imperial Science Division, panic turned to obsession. What was it, a bomb, a tracker, a threat? They brought the beacon to the capital and placed it in a containment chamber surrounded by energy shields. For days, nothing happened. It just floated silent like a piece of dark glass. Then one night it activated. A faint blue light pulsed through it, slow, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Every time it pulsed, signals spread across the galaxy, frequencies unknown to any species. At first, the Empire thought the signal was random. But when scientists plotted the pattern, their hearts froze. The pulses formed coordinates, thousands of them. Each one pointed to a different star system, all empty, all far from any Imperial control. What are they? The Emperor demanded. The science minister's voice shook. We believe your radiance. They are construction sites. Construction of what? The minister looked up. Ships. And she was right. Across forgotten corners of the galaxy, in the shadows of dead moons and hollow asteroids, hidden machines began to move. Dust lifted from the ground as massive hangars opened. Colossal structures rose, black, silent, cold. Human engineers walked among the steel giants, their faces lit by the glow of blue monitors. Beacons active, one technician said. All stations reporting in. Phase 3 initiated. Commander Ilara Cade stood at the center of a huge control deck. Before her, a hologram of the galaxy shimmered, thousands of red dots blinking where each shipyard came online. Her second-in-command grinned. The Empire found the beacon. Ilara nodded. Good. Then they'll understand what's coming. Back in the Imperial Palace, chaos reigned. The Emperor slammed his hand against the table. How many shipyards are we talking about? The minister answered, hundreds, maybe thousands. We can't count them all. The signal keeps expanding. Destroy them. The Emperor roared. Send fleets to every coordinate. Admiral Threx hesitated. Your radiance? Even if we send every ship, we can't reach them all. They're spread across half the galaxy. Some are outside known space. The Emperor's voice turned to steel. Then start where you can. Fleet after fleet left Imperial space. They traveled to the beacon coordinates, and one by one they vanished. No wreckage, no survivors, just silence. The few that returned brought terrifying reports. Human ships appearing out of nowhere, weapons that could bend gravity, engines that ignored hyperspace limits. One captain's final words echoed across the emergency channel. They knew we were coming. They were waiting. Across the galaxy, species began to whisper again. Merchants, miners, colonists, all spoke of a black fleet being born. Some said it was humanity's revenge. Others said it was preparation. But no one, not even the Emperor, knew the truth. One evening, in the quiet chamber of his palace, the Emperor stood before the beacon. Its blue light pulsed calmly like it was alive. He whispered, "What are you, little machine? Why send this message?" And then the light changed. It brightened, and a hologram appeared above the beacon. It was Captain Ilara Cade. Her image was faint, almost ghostly. "Emperor," she said, her voice steady. "If you're seeing this, then you've tried to stop us. You've attacked us, and you've failed." The Emperor clenched his fists. Ilara continued, "This beacon is not a threat. It is a reminder. You thought we couldn't build warships like yours. You thought humans were weak. You were wrong." The light flickered, and for a moment behind her hologram appeared a fleet, vast, endless, dark. Each ship was larger than anything the Empire had ever imagined. Their hulls glowed faintly, absorbing the light of distant suns. Ilara's voice echoed through the room. "We built these ships not for conquest, but for peace, the kind that only power can protect. You feared us before, Emperor. Now you will learn to respect us." The hologram faded. The beacon went dark. For the first time in centuries, the Emperor felt helpless. His fleets were vanishing. His control was slipping. The galaxy was changing, and he could do nothing to stop it. Outside his window, the stars flickered again. Dozens of faint blue glows appeared in the sky, like new stars being born. But they weren't stars. They were engines. Engines of a fleet that spanned across the heavens. The Emperor turned to his generals, his voice trembling with rage. "They're mobilizing. Humanity is preparing for war." The galaxy trembled. Every sensor, every radar, every eye that looked to the stars could see it. The human fleet was awakening. From the dark corners of forgotten systems, ships rose like giants. They moved in perfect silence, forming patterns that covered the sky. Each one blacker than space itself, each one a reflection of humanity's defiance. The Galactic Empire had ruled for 1,000 years. No one had ever challenged them. Until now, in the Imperial War Room, chaos reigned, thousands of ships detected. Shouted an officer. "Every one of them human. Formations unknown. Energy readings off the charts." The Emperor stood at the center of it all, silent, unmoving. His golden armor glowed under the light of holograms showing the impossible. Admiral Threx turned to him. "Your Radiance, they've surrounded our borders. If we don't act now, they'll cut us off completely." The Emperor's voice was calm, but his eyes burned with fury. "Then we strike first." Across the stars, the Imperial fleet mobilized. Millions of soldiers, billions of drones, endless firepower. The might of the galaxy gathered for war, but humanity was ready. On board the UTC Atlas, the largest human command ship ever built, Captain Alara Cade watched the holographic display. The Empire's ships filled the screen like a swarm of silver insects. Her second-in-command whispered, "They're coming in full force." Ilara nodded. "Good. Then it ends today." The two greatest fleets in history faced each other between the stars. No sound, no words, only the endless void between them. Then the first shot was fired. A beam of golden energy burst from an Imperial battleship, powerful enough to destroy a moon. It hit a human cruiser squarely, but the light vanished into the black hull, absorbed completely, not a single scratch. Before the Empire could react, the cruiser returned fire. No bright light, no explosion, just a silent pulse. The Imperial ship froze, every system offline, every engine dead. It drifted lifelessly into space. The Emperor's voice filled the comms. "Keep firing! Don't stop!" But nothing worked. Every shot disappeared into the darkness of human armor. Every missile lost its lock. Every system went blind. The human fleet didn't even need to move. In minutes, half of the Imperial Armada was disabled. No casualties, no destruction, just silence. Inside the Imperial command bridge, panic spread. "Our systems are shutting down," shouted an engineer. "They're not killing us. They're turning us off." The Emperor roared. "What technology is this?" And then a calm voice answered, across every channel, every frequency, every ship. "It's called peace." The Emperor froze. It was Ilara Cade. Her voice echoed across the galaxy, reaching every soldier, every planet. "We didn't build these ships to conquer. We built them so no one could ever threaten us again. We learned your history, Emperor, your wars, your cruelty, your fear. We will not repeat your mistakes," the Emperor snarled. "You dare lecture me, human? You think your machines make you gods?" Ilara's voice was quiet, but it carried more weight than any weapon. "No, they make us free." The Emperor looked at his powerless fleet, millions of ships adrift. He slammed his fist on the control panel. "Reactivate weapons. Do something!" But nothing worked. The Imperial systems were silent, overridden by something far beyond their understanding. And then, on every Imperial screen, a single message appeared. "Stand down." Across the galaxy, human ships glowed with faint blue light, and slowly, one by one, Imperial ships powered down their weapons. No orders, no fear, just surrender. On the Atlas, Ilara closed her eyes. "Send the final message," she said. Her crew nodded. A pulse spread across the stars. Soft, gentle, beautiful. It reached every corner of the galaxy, every ship, every world. And the message was simple. The age of fear is over. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor watched his empire crumble without a single explosion. He turned to the window, the stars now filled with human ships, quiet and still. He whispered, You could destroy us. Why don't you? A hologram of Alara appeared beside him. She looked at him not with hatred but with understanding. Because destruction is easy, peace is harder, and we choose the harder path. The Emperor fell silent. For the first time in his life he felt small. Weeks passed. The Empire signed a peace agreement, the first in its long history. The human fleet withdrew, leaving only the beacon orbiting the Imperial capital. A symbol, not a threat. It pulsed once every day. A quiet reminder, a heartbeat of peace. On Earth, beneath a bright sunrise, Alara Cade stood on a balcony overlooking the ocean. Reporters called her the woman who silenced an empire. But she didn't see it that way. We didn't win a war, she said softly. We stopped one before it began. Her engineers smiled beside her. And the empire? Alara looked up at the stars. They'll remember. They'll learn. And maybe, next time we won't need ships at all. The wind carried her words into the morning sky. Above them, in the darkness of space, thousands of black ships drifted peacefully. Their lights calm, their engines quiet. Not as weapons, but as guardians, final line. For the first time in galactic history, peace did not come from fear. It came from humanity.